Welcome to Duke Champions.
Listen up. All you ever asked for is an opportunity. You got it today. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Yeah!
Come on with it, baby!
Yeah!
And an uncontrolled outpouring of hip young people.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. Sharp insight, Randall Cypher scheming chess moves all night. Alex Miley, big dumb animal raw, smashing hot takes through the studio door. Stats get funky, narratives get thrown through champions media, Buffalo combat zone. Buffalo combat zone. Be there, crowd chant, let's go Buffalo.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Duke Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Duke Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Duke Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Buffalo Combat Zone with Duke Champions. We are just over with Game 2 of preseason. We are getting down to cut down day. It's about a week away. Miley, how you doing today?
Great.
Oh, you're good.
Well?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing great. I mean, football season's right around the corner. I'm getting that itch, especially that fantasy football itch where I just want to do drafts every single day and spend all my money just doing best ball drafts while I'm in the middle of doing other drafts. And it's
Yep.
And then every year I always tell myself I won't get too hyped up. Like I'll fall into some of the hype. I'm hopeful for the team every year. I have high expectations, but I won't get too hyped up. And then preseason training camp rolls around, and I hear so many good things, and then the hype rises, and I got to keep myself calm because just so it's not such a letdown. Even though I'm very, very high on this team, I can't get too over my head like I do every year just because it's football's right around the corner. I'm just so amped up.
I know. I hear you. Yeah, this is the first year where typically I'll do like $160 worth of best balls, just like $5 ones, and just hammer them. And I never lose money because all you need is like 4 winners out of 25 drafts, and that puts you at $200. That's like my theory on best balls.
My thing is I actually usually lose money on best ball, but doing all those drafts gives me practice that when I do all my leagues with all my friends, I kick their ass and make enough money that way. Like last
100%.
year between all my home league, like all my leagues where I actually pay attention weekly and my best balls, I think I spent almost like $1,000 and I got about that money back.
Oh, that's
this
good.
year I've ticked it down just a bit on the best balls. I think I'm at like right now I'm like $135 on DraftKings and then like $50 on Underdog or whatever. I don't think I'll probably do any more on Underdog and then just do a little bit more on DraftKings, probably another like $20-$30 in DraftKings and call it good. A couple of the $25 ones when they give you like the free promos and shit, and then a lot of like $3 ones.
Right. Yeah. Underdog's kind of losing that best ball sort of thing. Like they're pivoting and I think they're like trying to revamp their whole entire corporation from what they were before, which is kind of legal gambling before you could when it came down to it. Now they're kind of revamping, but yeah, I did a rookie draft last night for my dynasty league, and I was the 9th pick, and I drafted Mike Washington because of the Ashton Jeanty news. And then it was only, I mean, thank God, but thank you, Ashton Jeanty was not hurt for the NFL sake, seriously injured, but I jumped the gun on that to play safe, and I lost that bet.
Yeah, I ended up like making some trades in my my dynasty league because I especially in this league this year I could care less to have second and third round picks. So I
Right.
moved off Jalen Hurts because I already had T Law and Jordan Love, who I just like more. And then I moved off him, and like my first this year, I ended up with like some decent roster players in the 104. So all I had was that. I just took Jordan Tyson. So I'm like, it's a dynasty. I don't care that he's out for 2 months.
Exactly.
He's like he'd be my wide receiver 4. It'd be between him and Jalen Warren for my flex spot. So it's like I'm fine with stashing. I don't need him. I have 3 great wide receivers. Stash him till he gets healthy, and then I just get that value later on.
Oh, easily. Absolutely. All right, let's jump into how game 2 went. Miley, what did you get to kind of watch in that game, and what did you like?
Oh, Cleveland's a dumpster fire. So,
should we jump into that real quick with Shedeur?
What a joke.
What a joke.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like Shedur's good. So,
Right.
like, it's like, yeah, do I think they should have started Shedeur? Yeah, give the young guy a chance. But Shedeur does suck. People that are like, oh, this is such a disgrace because he's so much better. They're probably equally levels of bad. But
Without
with
doubt.
Shedeur, you don't have the off the field baggage, and he's at least young, where maybe you could catch lightning in a bottle there, and maybe get lucky he got a lot better than he did when he was in college in his rookie year. Very unlikely, but it makes more sense to start the young guy. But especially with all the baggage, but with how much they invested into Watson, it made sense that they were going to start him. Unfortunately, I mean, again, it does not matter who they're starting at quarterback. They're going to have a top 3 pick in the draft because that team sucks.
Sure.
They have a really good future. They hit on a quarterback next year, and that offense could be really good in a couple of years with the pieces they put around, like with Judkins and Conception and Boston and Fannin. Like, they're building a nice young skill position group. And just the quarterback room is so terrible. But they're probably going to have the pick of who they want at quarterback, likely going to be Arch or Dante Moore. Unless one of them shits the bag at bet in college, or Cleveland somehow manages to fluke out like 5 wins, and then like the Jets, Cardinals, and Dolphins all end up shitting themselves. I have a feeling they're gonna get their pick of Arch or Dante, and I would be pretty surprised if they don't take either of them because you get Arch. I mean, it's Arch Manning.
Right.
You bring all those fans over, or Dante Moore was from Ohio, pretty sure near Cleveland, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I
kind of
believe
like
you're
the
right,
hometown kid. So it would just do one of those two. You can kind of win back the fan base after you've like almost completely lost them with the whole Watson saga.
Yeah. No, for real. I mean, yeah, both should be number 1 and number 2. Reminder last year, we had our top quarterbacks were Al or Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. They were all 7th round picks and stuff like that. I know that you were not on him. Yeah.
I thought Eller and Nussmeier sucked. Klubnik I thought was decent, but I didn't think he was worth the first round hype. I was always off on Nussmeier and Aller, so like I didn't feed them. But I mean, Arch I guess was projected to go first last year, but he just needed some more developing because if he continues building off what he showed at the end of last year, he's going to be the first overall pick.
No, I agree. I'm excited for the college season as well. Taking it that starts a little bit sooner.
Starts
so we'll get
next
excited.
week.
Yeah, buddy.
Kind of next week, and then fully kicks off the week after.
So I mean, overall, I mean, you're right. The Cleveland Browns are kind of a dumpster fire. Basically they held up the banner during joint practices. It was like, hey, we held up with the Buffalo Bills, which is kind of comical in that sense. Which I guess they did, but no fans were invited to the joint practices, and that was based on media and things along those lines. But there was some good things that in the joint practices when it came down to, our DBs were not looking fantastic in those joint practices as well as the Browns weren't either. Denzel Boston was super open on that route. Casey Concepcion kind of unfolded us a little bit as well. But then when the game came, we really just kind of buckled down and really showed who we were and playing very freely. Realistically, Kyle Allen won that job, I would say, on Saturday. So I would say he's QB2 along those lines. But there's a lot of good things that I think came across. Even playing a dumpster fire in the Cleveland Browns was showing rookies and the body transformations and Landon Jackson, Zane Durant, Dwayne Carter had a decent game. That defensive line and the DBs that are in year 2, I think took a good step in confidence and structure to know that we are much deeper for the Buffalo Bills than a lot of teams in the league.
This is the youngest roster we've had since 2018. We're actually
Right.
the bottom half of the league in age. I think we're like the 12th youngest roster. And yeah, I think this is the deepest we have. I mean, running back, we have 5 NFL caliber running backs. We have 2 NFL caliber running backs that aren't gonna make this roster.
Right.
And Wheeler and Frank Gore, like they're both. I'm not saying they're stars, but they're NFL caliber running backs, and neither of them are making the roster. Our wide receiver depth looked really good. I mean, Sherfield had a good game. Macklin had that one really good play. Mecole's been looking pretty good. Like at first, it's like, oh, wide receiver 6, who cares? They're all gonna. But like the wide receiver, like we've shown that like some of those wide receivers are actually looking pretty decent. And then realistically, it's only until Shavers gets back. And then we're back to being 6 legitimate wide receivers deep. I mean, kind of 5 because Skylar Bill's kind of like basically taking a redshirt year without us cutting him because you can't cut him. You get scooped up right away. We're just redshirting him for a year.
Yeah.
So I think when Shavers comes back, it's like Shavers probably is going to be wide receiver 5 and Bell goes to like probably game day inactive. I just don't see him, especially with the way they already said that like Coleman and Palmer are steadily ahead of him. It's like, all right, they're giving him the Shakir treatment. And he's just going to redshirt this year unless there's injuries. But our wide receiver core has looked pretty healthy, including Josh Palmer, who's already dealt with like some nicks, but like he's playing right through them. He hasn't. I don't think he's missed any practices besides maintenance. Like I think he missed. I don't think he's had he had that wrist injury today. Was back in later in practice, and and that's what's nice to see is he hasn't really picked up much. And anything he has, he's been able to play right through it. And I said this to Alex earlier because he added me on something about Palmer, like in practice when he had a couple good plays. And I'm like, he's the X factor. Him being healthy, I think, is the X factor of our offense. It really opens up a component we don't really have with other people. It's someone who can win down the field consistently. I mean, you can kind of say maybe Mecole with his speed, but like he's not. Josh Palmer is our deep threat if he can stay healthy. I mean, DJ Moore, yes, he can do it too, but DJ Moore, you're going to want to do a lot of other things. Palmer is that guy. That's why we gave him the money we did. He's that vertical separator that really unlocks this offense. We can really take the top off teams if he can stay healthy, and which is the big if. And so far, it's been looking a lot better than last year, where last year he was with the trainers like every single day.
Yeah, I very much agree. And like in contrast, I would say I think I agree with you that is kind of like the catalyst or that could jumpstart the offense in itself. I would add Dalton Kincaid in there, of course, because with that healthy Dalton Kincaid, he's that zone beater. But with Josh Palmer and Dalton Kincaid in that mess, like it is kind of nice as long as, like last year, they both don't go down. At least there's an option where if Kincaid needs a game off, or if Palmer gets a game off on something small, like a small ankle, not high ankle, but low ankle, we know that Josh Palmer can fill those shoes because Josh Palmer is good in that intermediate zone. He can take the top off just like Kincaid. So they can work interchangeably as well so that we're not taking a huge step down if both are gone or if Kincaid's down or Palmer's down. They can kind of redo their duties together.
Yeah. Realistically, if they can both play 13 to 14 plus games and be healthy for the playoffs. Like healthy enough to play. Obviously, I doubt they'll be 100% healthy. Most players don't make the full season 100% healthy. Even if they pick, if they pick up minor stuff, they have to miss a game here or there. That's fine by me. Like the players like that, I can live with a couple of games. But if they're missing 5, 6, 7 games, and even when they are playing, they're playing 20 to 30% of the snaps, and then playoff time they're hobbled. It's like that. I don't get no. But if it's like they have to, the picks up like 2 or 3 games in the middle of the season, right around the bye week or the end of the year, and then we sit on week 17 and 18 week 18 against 17, 18, we play the Dolphins and Jets. So we sit on those 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. not like those. If we can't beat those 2 teams with even half of our roster, then that's probably an issue.
Yeah, we're out of the McDermott era. That is probably one question about the regular season.
As long as we have Josh Allen, we could have Josh Allen and all of our backups, and we should be able to beat both of those teams.
Yeah, I agree. It's a curious thing to see because we always set ourselves up for one terrible loss, right? Somewhere it happened, and I'm curious to see how a regime change could change that or kind of alter their mentality and making sure that doesn't happen. Because it was always a potential divisional game that we took out, that we ended up losing, that was not supposed, that could not happen. And that's where we would lose chances at 1 seeds.
The thing is, I feel like they were at least like competent teams when he lost to them, like the Jets those couple years with the defense. I guess maybe Miami not last year, but then again, they had like a stretch of like 4 weeks where they were playing some good football and kind of
Yeah.
almost snuck them way into a playoff race before they fell apart again. So like, but this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with the first and second picks in the draft.
Right.
Those rosters are terrible.
There's no depth in Miami.
They're
Literally
like,
no
yeah,
depth.
like the Jets, I think if they can hit in a quarterback, they could legitimately be good in like 2 years. They have a decent offensive supporting cast, but like you have Geno. You don't have a lot of depth in the defense, a lot of work, and you have the worst head coach in football. So that's that's their issue. The Dolphins, they just are void of talent right now because they just stripped down the roster.
Right.
They're at the start of their rebuild, so they really just
100%.
don't have much. And so like again, like we don't really need much as long as Josh Allen's there to be able to beat those teams. But we're going to talk about those bad, like McDermott type middle of the season losses. I think the one to keep an eye on is the Raiders. Because it's
so?
right after we play the Rams.
Yeah.
On Monday night, we have to travel to Vegas, and Vegas they're an upgraded
their roster's
team.
good.
They're an upgraded team, and they're probably going to try and run the ball a lot this year. Their offensive line is upgraded. Genty, big injury relief. It looks like just a high ankle, so he'll be healthy by that point. And I mean, while our run defense doesn't look like it'll be as bad as it was last year, that is still the weaker part of our defense. So I could see a scenario where Genty goes off for 150 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns, and Josh has a troll game, and Max Crosby gets to him, and they beat us like 20-17 or something like that. Like I think there's definitely a world where that happens. I'm not saying I'm picking the Raiders to beat us, but like that would be if I had to pinpoint one bad team that we could slip up, I would put it on that one.
Yeah, I can see that. What I would hope that the Buffalo Bills will do against the Raiders is basically how the Falcons played us last year when we lost, because they don't have much of a wide receiver core. Rush five at all times, play man. They can't separate that well. Probably bracket.
Well, worried about Bowers just cooking us though.
Bracket Bowers.
Because our linebackers are a weak part of our defense. So like I'm worried that Bowers and Genty the two of them combined for 250 yards of offense alone.
Right, and their defense is good. Fair point.
And and also I'm pretty sure we have a bye week 7. Players could maybe kind of look ahead. Be like, we're at bye week, like after the big Rams game, short week in Vegas, it being Vegas, and the bye week coming up after. Again, maybe I'm just saying that would be the McDermott type loss that we're kind of talking about. Hopefully the new coaching staff at being year 1 can kind of keep us away from that.
Right.
But time will tell.
Yeah, good point. All right, moving on. We'll stick with the offense for a little bit, and then moving on to the offensive line. Absolutely loved how much Tylen Grable played on the offensive line for game 2, which then at least kind of alleviates my tackle concerns that we talked about last week when it came down to it, because Jude Bowery is in a boot. He came out in a boot today, which
he's going on IR.
He's going to IR so that he can take the year, because he was not ready in game 2 either. So, those concerns about him developing, he is definitely 1 to 2 years over 1 to 2 years in development. I definitely think that they are probably going to sit Jude Bowery down and be like, hey, you are probably the successor of Deion Dawkins at left tackle, but that's not for 2 years, sort of get ready. But Tylen Grable coming in, playing left tackle and right tackle, looked good in both. A little bit of hand placement that was a little off, but other than that, I thought he looked very good. And then our guard and center depth is really good. I mean, I believe that SVPG is playing pretty well at that center position in these preseason games. And then he's also moving to guard a little bit as well. And then Austin Corbett's pretty locked in as the backup to Alec Anderson. And then Armaj Reed Adams is going to be on the practice squad this year, but he has looked good these past 2 games. He's been sound, good in pass pro, athletic on the move in the run. He looks very good to me.
Yeah, I just think it's whoever between SVPG and Cushenberry doesn't win that battle. I hope we can get a trade value out of it.
Right.
The Chargers just lost their starting center for the entire year. They could look to want to take a chance on one of those two, and we could do a pick swap. So like, that's kind of what I'd hope because it would make no
I
sense to
agree.
keep three centers on the roster. And then yeah, I kind of like Corbett is or Anderson, whoever I guess doesn't win that battle would be probably the loser. That's one of the best backup guards in the league. So like we can. It's nice that we have if Torrance or the winner of that battle goes down, we could slide the other guy right into either of their spots and not be too screwed. And then, yeah, Armand Shreves Adam probably goes in the practice squad. But if we have to use like a practice squad call up or if one of them goes on IR or whatever, like I'd be like, all right, I think he can hold down his own. And then, yeah, Tyler Grable playing better is nice because, yeah, I think Jude Bowery, they're just going to give him the year. They're going to put him in the boot and they're probably just going to have him live in the weight room. They're going to have him do everything but actually practice because when he's on IR, he can't practice with us, but he can be in all the meetings. He can be in all the training. He just can't practice. So they're going to try and build his body up more and have him be around the team the entire time and develop mentally a lot. And then in the off season, maybe even like right as the season ends, has him open up the practice window just to get those 3 weeks of practice and not actually activate him and then just have him be in IR for the rest of the year. And then in the off season, he can kind of really hit the ground running.
That Armaj Reed Adams, John?
No,
is that Bowery?
It's on Bowery, which I'm not going to read into that yet because when we took him, there was no real expectation of him having much playing time this year to begin with, unless they were planning on moving him to guard to like battle with Anderson or Corbett, which is not the case. They're keeping him at tackle, so there just isn't really much expectation of him playing this year, or probably even next year, unless Dion kind of falls off a cliff and they want to get out of his contract. But it's likely that Dion and Spencer Brown are starting tackles for each of the next 2 seasons. So we have plenty of time to let Bowery to get in that weight room, to develop, to be in the meetings and mentally get better and just get used to the NFL speed. So year 3 or 4, he'll have shown enough by then where we feel comfortable. Or Grable just continues to look better. Like we have options. Maybe Grable finally took that step. He's getting healthy. And he could be the swing tackle. Or maybe I know Alex doesn't like him, but Chase Lunt, maybe he takes a step. We have a lot of options. That is one thing I've always give Bean credit for is he's made at least the last couple of years. He's day 3. He's definitely been very invested in making sure we have offensive line depth, and our offensive line has stayed relatively healthy for the most part. But it's that depth paid off. It's how we can win games like the Pittsburgh game last year when. Our passing game was still kind of in a lull, like it was most of the year, but especially at that time after the Houston game, everyone thought we were screwed because both of our tackles were out, and the Houston game looked so bad. In Pittsburgh, a tough defense, and we had enough offensive line depth. We ran all over them. It made up for the fact that our wide receiving core and Kincaid was still injured, and wide receiving core sucked, and we just couldn't throw the ball at all because it was before we got Cooks, and we were kind of transitioning a bit. I mean, the passing game got a little bit better towards the end of the year into the playoffs, but still, I think we've done a good job of having that plethora of depth there and putting a lot of day 3 picks in it so we can always have next man up and it not be a complete catastrophe.
Right, like the Cincinnati Bengals. They always, it is true. Brandon Beane always has a plan for a plan when it comes to the offensive line. And I think that's very appreciative for Josh Allen. I think that actually secures Josh Allen's comfort zone for, if we're talking about Josh Allen wanting to play for Buffalo till he's 37, 38, 39, 40, he can be like, well, I know that Buffalo is going to keep me upright. If I go somewhere else, I don't want to tear an ACL in the late 30s. That's pretty out. But at least Brandon Beane's like, I'll do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. I will make you, but his number one job is I will make you happy, Josh.
Right.
Let's get it.
Talent. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, if we get Josh to 40 in Buffalo, we get to watch, and we could say we watch every single snap of Josh Allen from 8-17 to whatever, 20-30 something. That's like a fun era that we get to live in. So I'm not mad about it.
And then maybe we'll get lucky enough to pull a Green Bay Packers.
Right. And then pull that off. Exactly.
Or if we don't pull a Packers, we suck for a couple of years and we get it the QB right on the first try.
Yep.
Because I don't want to go through another 20 years
I
after
don't.
It's over.
I know. I don't even know what we'll be able to do. Like, what would we talk about? We have to actually like literally dive into quarterbacks. I don't even. I hate
Yeah.
scouting
I mean,
quarterbacks
hey, at
personally.
least you as a draft guru, you'll be able to spend a lot of time talking. You'll be really
Yeah.
invested in the draft now.
Oh yeah, I will be.
You'll
I'll
be
figure it
like
out.
you'll be like how like Jets and Browns fans are right
Yeah.
now, and you're already looking towards the mock drafts for next year.
Yeah. I know. Probably. I literally, and I'm like one of the most minority people when it comes to the scouting department is QBs is like my least favorite thing to scout because there's so much mental and discipline. Like you really have to know the quarterback to know if he's going to be a good quarterback, and we don't get to see that as
Yeah.
fans and analysts because you need to be in a meeting, you need to listen to how he talks, look at how he lives his life, and see if he's going to be that guy because it comes to discipline, intelligence, and persistence over traits, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to QB, film's just one of the hardest things to decipher because there's so many moving parts, and the
Right.
QB has a control on a lot of different things that when there's a mistake, it could be the QB messed up, but you think it's the wide receiver. So when you're watching the film, you're like, oh, it's the wide receiver's fault. When in reality, it could be the QB's fault,
Bingo.
or vice versa. You could be like, oh, the
Right.
QB missed that throw, but the wide receiver ran the wrong route. Or with the offensive line, oh, the offensive line missed that block, but maybe the quarterback didn't set the right protection or vice
Bingo.
versa. Like there's
Right.
just so many, like a wide receiver, it's at least a little bit easier. It's like, is he getting open? Can he catch the ball? On the
Right.
line, does he have good form? Can
Right.
he block? Like, I mean, obviously it's a lot more nuanced,
Criterias.
but there's basic criteria. Quarterback, there's just because they have so much control
Right.
and they have an effect on all 11 players on the field, all 10, including themselves. That it's just so much harder to, and then obviously coaching has such a big impact on quarterback. It's like, oh, is it the coaching making it this easy on him or whatever? And it just that's why quarterback I feel like is it's the hardest position to get right in the NFL because it's the hardest one to scout by far.
100%. Yeah, that kind of cut out for a second. All right, so let's talk about, since we just got through the offense, a little bit of tangents, let's talk about the defense. What I saw out of the defense was very impressive, and I'm gaining a lot of confidence when it comes to how this defensive line's going to operate, and then also the concern of the defensive backs and what Jim Leonard talked about being a little concerned with the defensive backs and how many reps that they've had to share. So the defensive line will start there. I do really love what the defensive line looked. I'm going to shout out Zane Durant because Zane Durant was dynamite in that second half. His traits are showing that he can be a guy. And in Jim Leonard's defense, the way that they operate with sub 300-pound defensive tackles, he could be a guy that we bet on the traits. We have Landon Jackson that is really getting used to his body in the preseason, which is huge. So we have an opportunity for him to hit the ground running in week 1. And then Jim Leonard will not stop talking about Michael Hoyt. And it seems like I personally was wrong when it came to Michael Hoyt in his timeline of when he's going to be. I do think that he'll still take some time to be 100%. I was in the boat of like early December when he would be at his best. I think it's almost like early November now, the way he's going. So I think this defensive line can help the defensive backs, even though I think our defensive backs are very good, save them with how good our defensive line is looking in the scheme and the change.
I still have some concern on double teams. Like that's still a little bit of a lingering concern. Like I see a lot of people winning one-on-ones, but I'm still a little concerned on like can anyone consistently take on doubles in a game? Like how is that going to work? I get you can kind of scheme around them and you can do different things, but there is a time and place where you're going to need people to be able to anchor down and hold doubles. And I still haven't seen a whole lot of that in the preseason. And so that's a bit of a concern. I'm not like too worried about it. Like again, because they have looked so good and it's been so many different players. It's a lot of the young guys that have looked really good. I guess the only one that hasn't looked great so far is TJ Sanders. He kind of it doesn't seem like he's taken too much of a step, um, and that's a little concerning. I mean, he hasn't looked terrible or out of place, I guess, as much as he did last year, but he's kind of just been unnoticeable for the most part. Just
Yeah.
eh, like Durant's making plays and even Dwayne Carter, like this last game, made some plays, and
Right.
Landon Jackson's making a lot of plays, and they're kind of, and even TJ Parker, when he's been in there, he's been making a lot of plays. Like a lot of these other young guys have been making plays in the preseason, and TJ Sanders has kind of just been there. And I
I
mean,
know.
that's not the worst thing ever. I guess if you're at least holding your ground, you're not getting blown off the ball. That can be valuable in the regular season because it keeps the linebackers cleaner. But at the same time, if all the other young guys are kind of making a name for yourself and you're kind of just a little bit like no one's really talking about, you're a little off in the shadows a bit. That's for being an early second round pick that being traded up for. It's not the greatest sign to see. I didn't love the pick when it happened. Um, that was definitely one of a head scratcher just because I didn't feel like it really fit our team that well. With already having Eddie and Dwayne Carter and whatnot. And I mean, now we're kind of transitioning Landon Jackson in that similar type of role. But I'm not going to wave the white flag or anything yet. It's only been 2 preseason games of year 2. It's
Right.
just something to keep. Those are, I guess, are my concerns. But for the most part, yeah, this defensive line, the depth has looked really, really good. And that's always been something that's kind of bit us in the ass is that we've kind of had to overplay our top guys a little bit in the regular season because our backups just kind of get blown through. And then our top guys are kind of beat up and tired come playoff time, and we can't do shit. And
Right.
we can't get any pressure or anything like that. And I feel like this year might be a little bit different because I feel like we have like 4 or 5 defensive ends that I trust and like 5 defensive line tackles that I trust that can at least hold their own. Versus last year it was like 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends, and it's like once you get off that starting 4, it's kind of rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like TJ Sanders looked better on Saturday than he did in the first game for sure. But what I don't see that I believe that we need to see out of an early second round pick. That's where TJ Sanders is going to be graded differently, right? Because Brandon Beane traded up for him and got him, which is fair. He should be graded differently because he did get traded up for a draft for. You should have a bigger expectation when it comes down to it. But it just his play strength overall is what I don't like to see. When he's going on one, he just consistently looks like he's containing and he's looking to defend the run. When realistically in South Carolina he had in his final year, he had 5 sacks and 3 QB hits, I believe. And he was one of the few in that class that brought pressure on the interior as well as being able to defend the run. And I see a lot of him just trying to contain and defend the run. He does a good job. Like, if he's defending the run, he does look at his best where he can peek a little bit. He tries to drop a knee at points as well. So, like, that's all good and fine. But we need to see more when Landon Jackson gained 20 pounds and he's out producing you, taking in that role. Mind you, Landon Jackson played in a 3-4 at Arkansas, and that's fine. He did play some 3-tech in there, that 4-eye at Arkansas, so he's familiar with the position. But we see a lot of body transformations fail, and Landon Jackson's is improving, while TJ Sanders kind of goes stale while watching, so I agree with that.
Yeah.
The linebackers look good. Keontae Jenkins didn't look fantastic. He was biting on a little bit. I agree that our outside linebackers did look good as well. When it came to TJ Parker, looked very good. Who else did we have out there? Oh, Javon Solomon looked good as well.
Yeah.
That was promising as
He's
well.
looked pretty good all training, all like off season.
Yeah, one of the good things I saw TJ Parker, which I posted, was the first half when it came to Shedeur Sanders, is he bit consistently on play actions. If it was a lot of rollouts were happening for the Browns to open up that passing game, and he would bite on the running back. Happened twice in the first half, and then the very first play of the second half, it was a rollout for Deshaun Watson. He his defensive line coach came up to him and said, "Hey, this is what's happening, and you need to surf the line and watch the quarterback. That's your job." First play, the second half was a rollout. He surfed the line and then hit Watson hard in the ground. That was awesome for that incomplete. So it's good to see his explosion, acceleration, and him being able to adjust in game and be able to fix himself in the second half. So that was great to see.
Well, one thing I will say though is I guess you are right, Bengals fans. Geno Stone really does suck.
Yeah.
I thought there's no way he could have been worse than DeMar. He might be worse than DeMar.
I know that interception is going to keep DeMar Hamlin too.
Apparently,
Probably
he's
there.
been injured, I guess, but that just might be.
I don't believe that
But
for a single
guess
second
at
when
the
it
end
comes
of
down to it.
at the end of the day, it's like I guess he's bad enough where he's not making the roster, so it's no hard, no follow.
Right.
Like it's not like he's going to be on the field for regular season games like he was for the Bengals. Because at best he's our safety 4.
Right. Yeah, I mean that it does come down to that. And then probably the biggest question when it comes to defensive backs is I still believe that IGB is getting more recognition than Hairston, and I'm very curious about the combination of injury with Hairston and how he's kind of came across. I do believe, this is kind of me eyeballing my brain while we're going through training camp, joint practice, and stuff like that. Hairston hasn't looked great, and his development has been stunted by injuries, but he had one good play in joint practices that was like a toss-up where he just kind of had a PBU. Today, Josh Palmer burned him on a vertical route, which, 4.29 speed. When it comes down to a first rounder with 4.29 speed, really anybody on a one-on-one vertical, you should not let that get beat. And he pushed Palmer in the back as a blatant DPI, so he had him beat by speed. And then he also gave up a red zone touchdown as well. So I'm curious to see how this unfolds in splitting, because we've talked about splitting, and I still think that that's going to happen based on matchups and based on splitting reps on that other side, which I don't necessarily love. I still love having just like a CB1 and a CB2, but that's fine and dandy when it comes down to it. But Max Hairston is looking more like the backup and IG looking like the starter. I still think that can be murky waters for a rookie coming in and playing in those first hard weeks. So what's your thoughts on what you maybe read or heard about Max Hairston and IGB, and where you kind of settled down coming to, August 31st?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Bills have released their final unofficial depth chart, like preseason unofficial depth chart, and Max is still the starter, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, the one on ESPN, or actually, let's go on the Bills one. I'm pretty sure they still have Max as the
starter.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. And as we talked about, we were talking
Max
about
is still the starter. So
starter. We were talking about splitting shares. It almost seems like it's getting more together than it is kind of IGB coming in as 15, maybe 12 to 18 snaps. I think his snap share is going to kind of go up a little bit higher. The way that I've heard how he has been throughout.
He's looked really good against the run too.
Right.
Well, my thing is, I think they're going to give Harrison still at least the week 1 shot to be like, all right, prove to us why we took you in the first round. Right. But kind of they're probably letting him know IGB's coming up on you. Like, the pressure is on. Your leash is shortening by the day with how you've been struggling a bit, how good he's looked, where the worse you play, the more snaps that are going to go to him. But I highly, highly doubt they're going to have IGB start over him week 1. I think it would have to be like a catastrophic failure of just Max over the next 2 weeks for that to happen.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. I'm just, I've got some concern going when it comes to those DBs, and especially with Jim Leonard talking that he was a little bit concerned today.
Well,
but
at least we have a decent week 1 matchup, because it's going to be Benford will be with Nico a lot, and then it's you got Tank Dowell, how does he look like? Jalen Noel and
he'll be slow, much slower.
They're not bad receivers, but not like he's playing like the Rams or the Bengals week 1, where he's got to be facing wide receiver 2 Devontae Adams or wide receiver 2 T Higgins. That's definitely an easier matchup.
Yeah. And
for sure.
And our defensive line, that's a game where our defensive line can really help out the DBs, because the Houston Texans offensive line doesn't look fantastic. So they can kind of bring that pressure to an average CJ Stroud and hopefully kind of mask some of that.
And then week 2, I guess Max kind of has a matchup that fits his style a lot. He's going to be going against Jameson Williams a lot. That's the exact
that's who they cover.
If Max has a bad week 2 against Jameson Williams, that might be where I start being like, all right, I want to see some more IGB, because that's the exact type of receiver. Your Jameson Williams, your Xavier Worthies, where Max should be kind of dominating them, because he has the speed to keep up with them. Where it's Max, how he did last year against Xavier Worthy, that was easily his best game of the season was against the Chiefs, and rightfully so. He locked Worthy down. Hopefully, he can do the same thing against Jameson Williams. Those speed demon receivers that don't have a whole lot to their arsenal really are in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought, Jameson Williams has 3 routes in his tree. He does them very well. So there's not much prep at that point when it comes to a speedy guy. You kind of just read his routes, follow
Zero
and
and
go.
drag. Yeah, basically a zero or a drag.
Bingo. Yeah. Throw a post.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously we can't leave the DBs without talking about Jordan Hancock. I believe Jordan Hancock was probably the best player on that defense for game 2. He did everything NFL caliber, which was great. You know, there was a lot of screens, a lot of short passes. He did his job to get on that outside shoulder to make sure that they're going inside to get all his defensive help. That was NFL style. That him reading Watson's seam pass when he came down that PBU, incredible. Like, he is playing so well where it's very nice to know that he's back there just in case, you know, D. Alford goes out. We have a nickel just to go into place, and that allows, again, what probably one of the most important things, in my opinion, for Jim Leonard's defense is not handicapping Cole Bishop and having to do different duties because maybe there's a broken link somewhere. Jordan Hancock being ready to step in and playing like that still gives Cole Bishop that freedom.
Also potentially save money next year where it's like, oh, Hancock looked this good. We trust him to be the starter. We're going to move off D. Alford, even though a small contract, it's still a couple mil to save when next year we're so tight against the cap, we're going to have to really be penny pinching.
Agreed. All right. Well, yeah. Preseason 2 wrap up. Talked about that line. You know, we got cut down day is next Tuesday. Today's Monday. Next Monday, 31st.
Yeah, next Monday's the 31st.
Yep.
Bills
So
final preseason games on Thursday.
Bills final preseason on Thursday. Who do we play? Steelers?
Steelers, yeah.
Yep. Well, they'll probably roll out a good amount. We'll get to see how Drew Aller throws on the defensive backs. That could be interesting to watch as well. And then how that. I don't know. Like, I would like Drew Aller to kind of stumble a little bit so that everybody can pump the brakes on him. So I'm kind of hoping that our DBs kind of destroy him, in my opinion.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
Drew Aller shouldn't be too much of a test for our DBs because he sucks.
I will say, objectively, that throw to the sideline was pretty good.
Yeah, he can make some very good throws.
He's got arm strength is his only quality.
My thing is I'm not a Penn State fan, so I'm not going to watch every single Penn State game. But I did watch all of the big matchups and every big game he was ever in. My takeaway from him was, wow, he sucks. And then I'm hearing all these great things about him. It's because, he's lighting up Central Michigan and Minnesota. Like, who cares?
Everybody's looking.
To go against Michigan, Ohio State, even Wisconsin. Like, they usually have a tough defense. Or, like, in the playoffs, it's like, he sucks.
Yeah. I mean, can't argue that when it comes down to it. He just everybody wants 6'5", 230 pounds.
Everyone wants Josh Allen, but not everyone can have Josh Allen. That only we get Josh Allen.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll make it quick. We're at 42 minutes. Next week we have cut down day, so that'll be a big day that we can start with the actual final roster, and then we are getting into what? 2 weeks? 2 weeks away to when it starts? September.
16 days.
16 days. We are 16 days to live NFL.
Do I have that right? No, I might be a week. I might be.
What's the first game? 7. Let me see. 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? Did it start on Wednesday?
Yeah, no, it's not the 18th. I think it's the.
No, the 9th, right?
Yeah, okay, so I was right. 16 days. Yep.
Yeah.
20 days till the Bills' first game, the 13th.
Perfect.
That's where I was getting confused.
That makes sense.
9th, yeah. The reason I was thinking this is because 2 weeks from today is Labor Day, and then 2 days after, because it's the Wednesday and Thursday for the start, because they had that Australia game. But, people are like, oh, that's so weird. I'm not complaining that football starts a day earlier. Who would ever complain about football starting a day earlier? Like, come on.
I have no idea. Because people are too bored in the offseason, because as soon as the ball snapped on Wednesday, everybody's going to regret saying that they don't like that it started on Wednesday.
Yeah, like let's start it on Tuesday next year.
Yeah,
start it with a
give
Monday
me a
night
full
football.
week.
But
I am so down for Monday through Sunday on the first week to get it all out.
Yeah, have a different day. That would be awesome.
I know. I agree. All right. Well, if everybody I know watching is not a busy day today, but if you can like and subscribe, Miley, you got anything for us? Go Bills as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Tune in next week at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Thank you so much.